Hello and welcome. I am Bobby Vale, Head of IoT Platforms and Ecosystem here at Advantech. Thank you for joining us today and spending your time to learn more about IEC 62443. Some of you may already know about this certification from an industrial standpoint, but we would like to take this time to explain how it fits into the wider arena of certification in different verticals, and also the Cyber Resilience Act that is coming into force across the European Union. A little later, I will introduce Michael and Alex, who will do a deeper dive into the complexities of IEC 62443. But firstly, I would like to frame the conversation so that you can understand the importance of this initiative from Advantech and the benefits of building security into your solutions from the ground up. If you have any questions throughout this presentation, please type them into the chat box and we will do our best to answer them directly. So, to start, a short introduction of Advantech and why we feel we can talk to the topic of security in connected solutions. Advantech has been in the electronics market for over 40 years, supplying embedded hardware to our customers across the globe. We are in fact the world's largest industrial PC manufacturer, with over 40% of the global market share. We work closely with all of the major silicon vendors, as well as the significant operating system and cloud providers. We have our own manufacturing centers and can support Advantech's worldwide customer base from our many local offices, providing regional sales, support, custom design, and repair services. We offer a huge portfolio of embedded computing platforms and peripherals, from flash and memory and wireless modules, through small form factor and computer on module, and on to standard form factor industrial motherboards. We provide box PCs to suit generic applications, as well as having vertically focused hardware for particular markets that are tested and certified to meet their requirements. We can provide both x86 and ARM-based platforms to meet the compute requirements of the applications in which they're being used, and also have an extensive range of the latest edge AI platforms from the world's leading solutions providers. This means that we can service almost any request in any market. We target our solutions in several key verticals, actively engaging with customers to provide the embedded computing platforms that drive solutions that you come into contact with on a daily basis. I would say that the vast majority of the hardware that we now provide is being connected to private or public networks in order to transfer information. Very few systems now work in an isolated standalone configuration. This means that security is having to be considered by our customer or their systems integrator, as the potential for interruption of service, either through malicious action or accidental mistake, is significantly increased and has greater effect the larger the system. The need for greater security integration into connected solutions is being driven by a number of factors. As any system grows with the number of connected devices, the surface area for attack grows likewise. Malicious actors can look to gather in data from the system or inject spoof data into that system in order to effect the efficient running of the organization. There have been many news stories in recent months telling us of the impact of malicious attacks on a large connected IT network. Operational technology hardware can and does have the same vulnerabilities if not secured correctly. Regulation is also driving the need for inbuilt security in connected systems. As I have mentioned, IEC 62443 has been recognized security certification in the industrial vertical for some time now, but we have seen the Cyber Resilience Act being brought into regulations, as well as certifications such as the Product Security and Telco Act in the UK, which pushes the onus onto the equipment builders and suppliers to provide certified solutions. Lastly, we are seeing the complexity of attacks increase massively as the hackers and attackers have access to newer technologies to create them, whether it is the power of the compute facilities at their fingertips or the use of AI to develop smarter attacks. For all of these reasons, our customers are having to spend a greater amount of time and resources building security into their solutions in order to deliver them to market. Here at Advantech, we understand those issues and have security solutions in place to help our customers get their products to market faster, with fewer resources needed, so that they can focus on their core capabilities. I would now like to introduce Michael from Bureau Veritas, a strategic partner of Advantech in providing security services, who can tell you more about IEC 62443 certification and how it can be achieved. Michael, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk today about the challenges that system integrators meet when they implement IEC 62443 compliance. Let me introduce myself a little bit. My name is Michael Beine. I'm the business unit manager for cybersecurity services at Bureau Veritas in Germany, and also auditor for IEC 62443. Let me start with the highlight that Bureau Veritas is a market leader in IEC 62443. That means almost half of all certificates issued under the IEC scheme for 62443 have been actually assessed and issued by Bureau Veritas. This gives our customers the benefit of strong experience in many successful executions of certifications in many projects. You can also find this information. This is not secret. This is public information available on the IEC website, where you can look at LCIE as a Laboratoire Central de Industrie Électronique, our national certification body located in France. They are fully Bureau Veritas company. Additional to being market leader, we also offer a worldwide presence of competence centers to support our customers on a global scale. So we have 3 competence centers in Europe, in Germany, that's where I come from, in Netherlands, and in France. In France, we also have the capacity of the NCB, National Certification Bodies. So all the certificates Bureau Veritas is issuing will come through our office in France. In Shanghai and Taipei, we also have a strong competence centers to support our customers, as well as in the US with a newly acquired location in Seattle. With this global approach, we can really support customers on a global scale across the globe in all relevant locations and areas, with the local presence and the short communication times, and with the local language, which is very helpful in IEC 62443, because many of the things that we address here work also on the language level in explaining and understanding the features and security requirements of the products. I highlighted already the market leadership on IEC scheme. Additionally, we can offer another scheme, which is the ISA Secure scheme. So we can offer a certification under the ISA Secure scheme. This is more relevant for the US market, where IEC scheme has really a global coverage and approach and relevance. We see also the different elements or parts of the standard. I will not go through the whole list. That will be too long for my short introduction and overview today. Just to highlight the elements that can be certified under the IEC scheme. This is part -2-4 for organizations who do servicing in industrial components. That means installing systems, repairing and maintaining systems. The installation and maintenance staff can show their competence and quality and security with this standard, with this part of the standard. System integrators will use a -3-3 part, which handles the whole system. Systems typically will build on by components, and this is a 4-1, 4-2 part. 4-2 covers the component level, so individual devices that were built together to build the system. The 4-2 has the component requirements, where the 4-1 has the requirements for what is called the security development lifecycle. So the development process and management of the development also needs to follow secure practices. The basic assumption in IEC 62443, or one of the basic assumptions, is that a secure product can only result from a secure development lifecycle. That is why both parts are relevant and go together for the components and need to be met. A very similar approach you see also in the ISA Secure with these different certification levels. They have slightly different names for it and also slightly different requirements. If you are interested in understanding the details or the differences in detail, reach out to us. We will be happy to explain this in more detail separately. Also, certification has the aspect of celebrating success. You see here many happy faces of examples where the certification was achieved in smaller teams, in bigger teams, in very different industries. So in the energy sector, electrical grid sector, in the railway sector, industrial IoT, many times in industrial IoT, but also in automotive and medical and open chain certifications. All these are examples, just a few examples from the many certifications that we have done at Bureau Veritas, where we created these happy faces. And I can tell you, this is on both sides. Also, as an auditor, I can tell you that this is a success story when certification is finally reached. And our approach on the one side is to be the gatekeeper, but on the other side also guide our applicants through the process and help them to be successful in reaching certification. Now coming a little bit more in detail to the challenges for system integrators. First of all, it's important to go through a risk assessment. Cybersecurity is always needs to be risk-based, and as a first step in a risk assessment, it's important to do a calibration of the scales, and the scales being likelihood, impact of certain vulnerabilities, and the resulting risk from these parameters and scales. It is important that these scales are calibrated to the individual context and circumstances of the product or the system. There is no one-fits-all scale. It always needs to be calibrated to the individual situation and understanding, so that let's say a verbal likelihood of very unlikely matches with the occurrence of these events, of these kinds of events, in the understanding of the applicant. After doing this scaling or calibration, it is also important and many times very difficult to define the acceptable residual risk. So it's important to understand there is never 100% cybersecurity. And And it's not also in many cases not useful to create a Fort Knox. In many cases, cybersecurity is a balance and compromise, and will have acceptable or will have a residual risk. And it's important to define the what we call also the risk appetite of the asset owner, of the system integrator, how much risk they are willing to tolerate or take, and how much they need to have compensated by countermeasures. As a next step, the design documentation of the system architecture needs to be divided into zones and conduits. This is a mechanism or concept defined or used in the IEC 62443 to separate different areas of risk. So in the different zones, there might be a different risk level. Then we will have a threat modeling, looking at the potential attackers and what damage they can cause. The threat modeling will be then mapped to those scales of likelihood and impact, and with the resulting risk score, it will be important to select countermeasures for those threats and risks. Select those countermeasures to stay below the residual risk. Important for selecting countermeasures is to have a balance. As I said already in the beginning, to have a balance between the security, but also taking into account the safety. So security should not have a negative impact on the safety of the safe operation of the system. There is also balance to technology. In some cases, the protocols require a certain timing, are sensitive to delays, and adding firewalls and security technology in the signal path can create unacceptable delays for a certain technology. And finally, it's important to look at the cost. Higher security typically comes with a higher cost, and all these dimensions need to be put into a balance and to achieve the, let's say, optimum possible cybersecurity. And what we see when we do a risk assessment with our customers, that this last step also influences the acceptable residual risk. And overall, the result of such a risk assessment will be the definition of the security level target. So what should the system be able to achieve? As a Bureau Veritas, we are experienced in this. We have the necessary domain knowledge, as I've shown with the different examples of certifications. We have the necessary domain knowledge and the necessary methodology, which is also specified in the standard. And with the selection of countermeasures, immediately it comes a selection of components. So this is a different next step. If you build a system, you need to do a vendor qualification, component qualification. You want to pick certified components or if possible, it's not always possible. Not all components will be certified, but if certified components are available, the overall certification of the system will be much easier. And then here in the selection of components, the focus is more on the security capabilities that a system is capable to achieve. Our services in this area is on the one side the vulnerability testing, and on the other side penetration testing with OT related focus. So we have the OT experts who really know the vulnerabilities and the possible threats and attack vectors, and they can exercise in penetration testing and vulnerability testing these methods to find vulnerabilities and make them available to the developers to fix them before the malicious attacker can misuse them. one important aspect of 62443 certification is that it is a scoring. What does that mean? Unlike other certifications, it confirms a compliance score, like you are 10 out of 10. On the other side, that means there is no mandatory requirements, or in other words, applicants can pick and choose which requirements they want to show as compliant and which they don't. The certificate itself, I made a capture of example certificate, shows this score, and it has multiple dimensions. On the one side, the score is separated with the different requirement sections. So not individual requirements, but let's say about the topic of identification of authentication controls, user controls, system integrity, data confidentiality. In these kind of categories, it is separated. And then there's a triple score. The first number says passed. So these are the compliant items. 3 items are not applicable. That means that they don't fit to the system or to the device in scope. And 22 gives a reference of the total score, total possible score. So in this case, we see a certificate of a device that achieved 15 out of 22 requirements. And we need to admit that 3 of the requirements are not applicable to the device. So they are just missing 4 requirements. This is how to read this. And this is, I think, an important note that this is not a must-have minimum requirement, but a scoring of how much has been achieved. And finally, I want to also highlight the cooperation between Bureau Veritas and Advantech. We see that this cooperation clearly creates added value. It's 1 + 1 is more than 2. We have the integrated certification services based on good alignment between Bureau Veritas and Advantech on component certification. This creates a strong benefit for the system integrator to achieve a smooth and efficient flow through the system certification. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you in this webinar, and looking forward to talk to you in more detail on particular projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. That was great, very informative. I'd now like to bring in Alex from Advantech to explain how we have worked with Bureau Veritas in order to incorporate security services into our offerings. Alex.
Thanks, Bobby. Thank you for joining us today and spending your time to learn more about IEC 62443. Some of you may already knew about this certification from an industrial standpoint, but today we would like to take this time to explain how they fit in to the wider areas of certification levels and what service we are providing. At the beginning, I would like to start by discussing the CRA, Standards for Cyber Resilience Act, which has recently become a highly significant regulation in Europe. The CRA represents a significant shift in the regulatory landscape for business operating in Europe, especially those involved in the development or sales of digital products and services. While compliance with the CRA may require substantial investment in cybersecurity, companies that effectively adapt will not only avoid penalties, but also gain a competitive edge in a security-conscious market. Business must act now to integrate cybersecurity best practice into their operations and product lifecycle management to ensure compliance and continual success in the evolving digital economy. Once the Act comes into force, products covered by Act must meet minimal security requirements. The Act emphasizes regulations in areas such as access protection, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, requiring manufacturers to integrate these requirements throughout the development process. The most scary thing is the penalty is up to 15 million euro, or up to 2.5% of worldwide turnover. While the full effect will only come in 2027, customers or OEMs who integrate Advantech product into their equipment will start their implementation in 2025 and seek answer from Advantech. The good news is that Advantech has identified this demand and has proactively researched how to address these regulation issues that we call IEC 62443 certification services. Basically, a large portion of the CRA regulations is rewritten based on the content of IEC 62443. Therefore, once the company meets the requirement of IEC 62443, it becomes simple and easy for complying with CRA regulations. The IEC 62443 coverage in CRA is around 67%. The standard focuses on product development process, services, and system integration, covering a broad range of areas. As a device buyer, Advantech is offering IEC 62443-4-2 certification services for now. Our goal is to benefit customers as long as they buy Advantech computer, then go with the regulation validation, which is becoming easier and faster. I will explain more in the coming pages. Not only CRA, there are also many vertical standards refers to IEC 62443. For instance, medical IEC 80001 refers to IEC 62443 4-1, 4-2. Railway TS 50701 refers to 4-1 and 4-2, and SEMI E187 refers to 1-1, 2-4, 3-3. Obviously, IEC 62443 is general purpose standard and widely accepted by different segments and industries. With this rapid development of the Internet of Things and edge computing, the deployment and the operation of computing devices have become increasingly complex. The IEC 62443 series of standards provide a comprehensive cybersecurity framework for OT field. For example, the IEC 62443 4-2 standard address security specification for applications, edge computing devices, machinery, and network equipment, with a focus on protecting the underlying hardware of computing systems. For device manufacturers or system integrators, becoming familiar with these standards and implementing corresponding measures can be challenging. From our research, in global, many companies already possess advanced cybersecurity technologies, but they often lack clarity of how to implement them effectively. This is where our team can leverage experience to assist in the implementation of protection solutions. Advantech has taken the lead in introducing an IEC 62443 4-2 solution with the assistance of Bureau Veritas to help clients with different certification. But why do customers need Advantech assistance? Yes, the entire certificate process is quite complicated. You cannot be working solo and you need support. We have been working with Bureau Veritas for a period of time and figuring out some of techniques and also accumulate tons of experience. By these accumulations, Advantech is able to prepare early with customers to address the upcoming mandatory regulations. And again, it's complicated to achieve every single criteria, especially for those who don't have much resource in security division. So an expert partner is quite important. Given the importance of IEC 62443, as outlined above, we come up with this certification service for CPU-based computing devices, leveraging our in-house verification and testing capabilities to support system integrators or device manufacturers throughout the product design and deployment stage. This ensures they can meet various compliance requirements and obtain the necessary certifications. The solution consists of two key components. First, IEC 62443-4-2 functional security. Advantech x86-based products will gradually incorporate basic protection measures, including firmware, operating system, IoT connections, and more. This product will utilize tools such as the Trust Platform Module, Trellis Application Control, Acronis Instant Recovery to enhance overall system security and availability. And the second part, advanced testing and certification services. Advantech offers verification of conformity or formal certification. Customers can choose from different scenarios, install proprietary application, which is depending on the need for IEC 62443-4-2 compliance. With the existing functional safety testing process methods, Advantech can help customers significantly reduce both the time and cost associated with certification. Through some parameter or software configurations adjustments and guidelines from Bureau Veritas supervision and training, we develop a golden image named Advantech VOC. This image meets the functional security test requirements and go with this image, by our estimation, able to reduce the time required for certification by over 6 months and the lower cost by up to 50%. So you may be wondering, what exactly do we offer as a company? Well, it depends on who you are and what you do with your computer. Whatever that is, it can be anything. There are 5 different levels of protection. Let's start with level A. Level A is designed for Advantech hardware. You can have your new product certified or verified against the basic function and get a kind of self-declared document called Advantech Verification of Conformity. It shows the customer that we've done some basic stuff. It's all there. And Advantech, we plan to apply this to all the new upcoming hardware models. We started with x86, especially Intel-based computers. No matter it's running Windows or Linux, it will become a part of the Advantech standard support offering. For level B, essentially everything is the same. We do functional security testing, except that we have Bureau Veritas to recognize this methodology and this process, and then to issue Bureau Veritas verification of conformity, or let's say BV entry VOC. And that will be quite convincing because they know that it's recognized practice. And in some cases, more often, customers would need to have their software application or program certified as well. Then, in that case, choose level C and have customers' application certified. In this regard, we have to work with BV. Advantech can try to certify something like that we need, and BV to certify some other thing. And who are the target customers? Asset owner, equipment builder, system integrators. They have to certify their application, and maybe that is not even enough. So we move to level D. In addition to the application, we can also certify other components and do some other testing about vulnerabilities, penetration, and something more, and work with BV and customer. Up to now, it's all VOC, kind of a self-declared documentation. In some cases, the customer or the government will ask about a formal certificate issued by a certification body or CB. So if you want something like CB level, like IEC or ISA secure, then it's going to level E. Again, we can have BV to do this. All in all, We aim to provide a one-stop shop service to our customers from the design stage all the way to manufacturing and to implementation. For you to quickly implement or enable those security features when those devices, the boards, and the systems are on the field. We believe these offerings are pretty helpful for you or your customer because that's image if you have to do everything from scratch, from sourcing a trust certification agency and figure out the BIOS operating system and some components on your own. It's gonna be a huge process and time wasting. Finally, I would like to introduce to everyone that Advantech currently has 2 hardware devices that use the Windows and the Ubuntu operation systems, which have passed the IEC 62443 4-2 VOC certification issued by BV. They have also successfully achieved security level 2. We hope to continue providing professional one-stop shop service together with BV to help more clients navigate the challenging certification process, providing them with much needed relief. It not only helps to avoid penalties, but also enhance the security of their device or project. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. We hope you found the section informative and valuable. Before we wrap up, I would like to encourage everyone to take a moment and scan the QR code displayed on your screen. By filling in your details, you will gain access to exclusive one-on-one consultation with our experts tailored to your specific needs. It's a great opportunity to ask questions, dive deeper into these topics, or explore how we can help you achieve your goals. Once again, thank you for your participation, and we looking forward to connecting with you soon. Have a good day.